I got a lot of trees, and these trees have a lot of limbs, and these limbs sometimes need to be trimmed. You have just normal die off, or maybe you have storm damage, or they're just overgrown and they're hanging too low and you need to cut them back. But sometimes that can be hard to do if they're high and out of reach. But there was something that was just delivered to my front porch that's going to help me out with that. And if it could just get rid of gnats too, that'd be great. Let's go check it out. There we go. Let's take this inside and open it up. This is the DeWalt 20V pole saw. And I went ahead and ordered a kit that includes a charger and battery because I already had another 20V tool and I wanted to get 2 batteries to extend my runtime. So let's open this thing up and see what it looks like. Looks like the box took a hit during shipping. Let's hope the tool's not damaged. Let's see here. Oh. There's the battery. It'll be the centered extension. And then control end. And then here's the business end. All right. Oh yeah. Charger. And last but not least, manual. Here's everything that was in the box. So let's put this together. Before we start, let's take a look at the saw end here. All right, it has a nice blade guard or scabbard. It's very nice, and included is the tool that you use to adjust the chain tension. That snaps into a little storage spot there on the scabbard, so that's good. Okay, I'm not going to put the center section in right now. We'll get to that later. But so there are electrical connections that have to mate up between these 2 sections, and it's pretty straightforward. First off, they're oval shaped, so they really will only go in one way, but they have arrows here to show you how to insert it. And then you pull this coupler down and just tighten that fully, and you're all assembled. We'll let the battery charge for a little while, and then let's go cut some limbs. Before the first use, we need to fill the oil reservoir. Let's go trim some limbs. Okay, let's give it a try. And for the first cut, I'm just going to do something low and simple here. And here's how this sounds unloaded. So it's not very loud at all. All right. Wow, that was effortless. There are a couple of dead limbs in this tree that I can't reach in this configuration, so I'm going to need to add the extension. So, very easy. You just loosen this here and pull it apart. Now, if you're out by yourself doing this in the field and you don't have a scabbard, you may be tempted to lay your saw on the ground. Try to avoid that if at all possible. Remember, this chain is covered with oil. So anything it comes in contact with on the ground, dirt, sand, grit, trash, is going to stick to it, and then that will cause it to dull more quickly during use. So it's just a good rule of thumb to keep in mind, never let your chain touch the ground. Now, to add the extension, very simple, very straightforward. You have those same arrows made up, just like this. Tighten the sleeve, reinstall the saw end, just like this. Tighten the sleeve, and you're back in business. Okay, we got a really high one on this one, another dead limb, but I can reach it no problem. Remember to stand clear. Okay, I have removed the center extension for this part right here. Now, if you've noticed, I've only been cutting dead limbs so far. There's a different technique you need to use for cutting green limbs, and that is, if you can, you didn't need to do an undercut on the bottom side of the limb first, not far, maybe about 25% into the limb, and then cut from the top, and that will prevent the bark from being stripped off of the tree and damaging your tree or the area around the limb when the limb falls free. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this, see, just a slight undercut, not too far, because if you go too far, the limb will start to sag and then will pinch the bar, and your saw will get caught up there, and you don't want that. So you do the slight undercut first, and then come to the top and finish it. It gives you a nice clean cut and no bark damage. This limb right here has been down for a couple of years, but it's still pretty solid. You can see that it's 6.5 inches in diameter, and the saw had no problem with that. Let me get back inside and get away from the gnats. I don't know what's up with the gnats this year, but they have never been this bad before. So anyway, you have probably seen enough action shots to know that this thing cuts like a beast. It is pretty much effortless. You just lay it on top of the limb and turn it on, and the direction of the chain will engage this stop, and then you just let the tool do the work, and it just slices right through there, and it's great. This can also be used as a hook. I used it a couple times off camera to pull limbs down out of the tree that I had cut free. This area right here is a dense rubberized foam. It gives you a very comfortable grip. Some people have complained about this double action safety trigger. I really didn't have any trouble with it. Once I used it a couple of times, it just kind of became second nature, and I really didn't even think about it. So I really can't complain about that. On some other reviews, people stated that you have to store this horizontally or the oil will leak out of the reservoir here. The manual says to drain the reservoir after each use, and I could see the practicality in that. If you're just a regular homeowner, you're not going to be using this thing every day. You might only use it once or twice a season, and so I could see the practicality in draining the reservoir, and if you're going to store it for months at a time. Obviously I haven't had it long enough to know if it does leak or not. We'll see. Hang on, just a quick edit in here. This is now a couple of weeks after the initial video, and I've been using the saw. I've used it several times since then, so I haven't made a place to officially store it here in the garage, and I've just had it lying across the top of the box here that it came in, and you can see that there has been some oil deposited on this box. Now I don't know if that is coming out of the reservoir, or is it just oil that is normally put on the chain during use, and it slowly drains down the chain and collects at the bottom. And you also see there's some oil here along the bottom of the scabbard. So what I would do, I think, if I'm going to store this saw for an extended time, is I would drain the reservoir and then give the chain and bar a wipe down before I put it away. Now, back to the video. But my overall impression, as I'm sure you can tell, is very favorable. I have a lot more trees I need to take care of, and I've already got a sizable pile of brush out in the yard that I need to drag off. So, if you found some value in this video, you learned anything, or just enjoyed watching it, please hit the like button so that YouTube will recommend it to other viewers. And if you appreciate this type of content, you might consider subscribing. I thank you for watching. I know your time is valuable, and I hope that I'll see you again soon in another video. You got dang gnats. Go away. Go away, gnats. Why do you hover around the camera? How would you hover around the camera? Okay, audio synchronization.